Hello class, my name is Theophany and I'm going to be going over my slideshow on transcendentalism. What was transcendentalism? It was a literary movement, a philosophy, and to some people, like a religion. Transcendentalism originated back in the 19th century in New England. It was an exploration of a more natural and unstructured spirituality. It was the relationship between man and nature, and it had a lot of different meanings for each individual that was involved. What did transcendentalists believe? It was the belief that individual virtue and happiness depended on self-realization. It was a belief that nature is symbolic, and many transcendentalists love to live near nature. They believed in the simple life, living in harmony, and they worked for social change because they believed each individual held a piece of divinity in them. They were advocating for self-trust and self-worth and self-identity. The roots of transcendentalism. This timeline shows the rough times every movement appeared, from the starting of idealism all the way to the end of the late transcendentalism. And it gives a good idea how every aspect was built off of one another. Idealism was explained by Greek philosopher Plato in the 4th century BC. He explained it as the true reality is found in ideas rather than the physical world. Emerson, the founder of transcendentalism, also compared idealism and transcendentalism, and he said that it was simply idealism rediscovered. Transcendentalists shared Plato's belief in spiritual reality. Romanticism and transcendentalism. Romantics valued imagination, nature over reason, and logic. They are very similar but have different beliefs. The two periods occurred almost at the same time, first Romanticism and then right after Transcendentalism. The Transcendentalists believed people were able to reach perfection because they were part of a divine soul. They believed in an inner light. The Romantics' idea had less to do with God. They believed in an external force of darkness, unlike the Transcendentalists. The Transcendentalists they believed that humans were like a reflection of God and that they had a divine soul. However, the Romantics did not. They believed in a darkness in each individual. So when it comes down to the Romantics and the Transcendentalists, their big difference is the way they believe in God to affect the individual. Okay, Puritanism and Transcendentalism. Both Puritanism and Transcendentalism both endure a modern self-reliance and developed from a religious doctrine. In the beginning, Puritans believed that religion is personal and should not be filtered through clergy or the government. Puritanism also believed people should be self-reliant. They also believe that God is only revealed through the Bible. However, unlike them, the Transcendentalists, they believe God is in each individual. Transcendentalists look to their own self and nature and not only God or the Holy Bible. They believe all humans were connected to divinity through nature and not just the elites or the wealthy people like Puritans believed. Puritans believed that humans were sinful by nature, while Emerson believed nature is a doorway to all truths and each individual is important. Ralph Waldo Emerson. He was born in 1803. He died in 1882. He was the founder of Transcendentalism. He was also, for a while, a Unitarian minister. He believed that institutionalized religion was a barrier between a person's full union with God. Some of his major works were Self-Reliance, Nature, The American Scholar, and the Divinity School Address. And a fun fact about the Divinity School Address is that after he wrote it, he was banned from the university for 40 years, I would say. 40 years he was banned. The Transcendentalists Club. This includes other important members. It was a group of New England intellectuals that promoted and established the transcendentalism movement. The name of the club was given by the people. It was not originally called the Transcendentalist Club. They stopped having meetings, or official meetings, after 1840. However, they did communicate and they did attend each other's sermons and meetings. Henry David Thoreau. He was most famous for his writings Walden and Civil Disobedience. He lived in a cabin on Emerson's land for years just to be around nature and be in tune with himself. He influenced the environmental movement. Margaret Fuller. She was the first woman accepted into Transcendentalist Club. She became a writer and the first woman editor for The Dial. William Ellery Channing. He was active in women's rights movement, a transcendental poet, and he was also a close friend to Henry David Thoreau. And that is the end of my slides. This is my resources and my works cited page. Thank you guys for listening.